Former President Donald Trump has once again ignited controversy with his inflammatory rhetoric. This time his target is Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Trump, in his characteristically blunt manner, labeled Zelensky a dictator. This claim is not only demonstrably false but deeply concerning given the current geopolitical climate. Zelensky, a former comedian, rose to power in a landslide democratic election in 2019. His approval rating soared even higher after the Russian invasion, solidifying his mandate as a true leader in times of war. Trump's accusations stem from the postponement of the 2024 Ukrainian presidential elections. However, this postponement is a direct result of the ongoing war with Russia and is entirely constitutional. To call Zelensky a dictator based on this necessary measure is a gross misrepresentation of the situation in Ukraine. It ignores the will of the Ukrainian people, who have shown unwavering support for their president in the face of Russian aggression. Furthermore, Trump's claim that Zelensky only enjoys 4% support is blatantly false. Independent polling institutions have consistently shown Zelensky's approval rating to be above 50%, even during these trying times. This disparity between reality and Trump's statements raises serious questions about his motivations and grasp of the facts. It's a tactic we've seen before: dismiss, discredit, and distort. Trump's labeling of Zelensky as a dictator is not just inaccurate, it's dangerous. It undermines the legitimacy of the Ukrainian government at a time when unity and international support are paramount. This is not a time for political gamesmanship. It's a time to stand with a nation fighting for its survival. While Trump readily throws around the dictator label at Zelensky, he remains curiously silent when it comes to Russian President Vladimir Putin. When asked directly about Putin's authoritarian rule, Trump dodged the question. He instead pivoted to his desire for negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. This refusal to acknowledge Putin's dictatorial tendencies speaks volumes about Trump's skewed worldview and his apparent sympathies for the Russian leader. Putin has systematically dismantled democratic institutions in Russia, silencing dissent and consolidating his power over decades. Independent media has been stifled, opposition leaders jailed, and elections rigged to ensure his continued grip on power. To call him anything other than a dictator is to deny the reality faced by millions of Russians living under his oppressive regime. Trump's silence on Putin's human rights abuses and his dismantling of democracy is deafening. It's a silence that echoes his past praise for Putin's strength and his willingness to overlook Russian interference in U.S. elections. This pattern of behavior suggests a disturbing admiration for strongmen and a disregard for democratic principles. The contrast between Trump's eagerness to denounce Zelensky and his reluctance to criticize Putin is stark and unsettling. It raises serious questions about his judgment and his allegiances on the world stage. In the face of such a blatant double standard, one has to wonder, whose side is he on? Trump's recent comments have sent shockwaves through the international community, exposing a dangerous rift in the already fragile Western alliance. His willingness to parrot Russian propaganda and undermine the democratically elected leader of Ukraine raises serious concerns about the future of U.S. foreign policy. For decades, the United States has positioned itself as a champion of democracy and a bulwark against authoritarianism. Trump's words and actions, however, directly contradict this long-held stance. By siding with an autocrat like Putin over a democratically elected leader like Zelensky, Trump undermines America's credibility on the global stage and emboldens dictators around the world. The Biden administration had worked tirelessly to repair the damage done by Trump's erratic foreign policy. From his previous administration, they have reaffirmed their commitment to NATO, provided billions of dollars in military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine, and rallied international support for sanctions against Russia. However, now that Trump has been re-elected, his continued pronouncements threaten to undermine these efforts and sow further discord among allies. Trump's dangerous rhetoric is not just a domestic political issue, it has real-world consequences. His words have the power to embolden aggressors, weaken alliances, and undermine democratic values. The world is watching, and the stakes have never been higher.